And with that out of the way, let's go right ahead and talk about the OKC series against the Mavericks. I apologize for all of you guys. I am a little bit stuffy. The allergies are getting to me really, really badly. But without further ado, the Thunder ended up tying the series against the Dallas Mavericks. The final score was 196, and this was not a very good outing for the Dallas Mavericks. Towards the end of the game, Luka Doncic needed to hit 2 free throws in order to tie the game and send it into overtime, but unfortunately he went 1 for 2, and his missed free throw costed the Dallas Mavericks the game. Now, this is a sort of a big problem because, Luka is supposed to be the best player on the Dallas Mavericks, and right now, it's starting to look like Kyrie has been the best player in this series and the previous playoff series that they were playing. Luka has been very inefficient in a lot of these games. And obviously, that inefficiency is really hurting the team. Especially last night. Luka shot 6 for 20 from the field, and he only got 18 points. Granted, he ended the game with 12 rebounds and 10 assists, so that's a triple-double. But, 6 for 20 from the field, that is doing nothing but hurting the team. You can't take 20 shots and then only get 18 points. And on top of that, miss the game-tying free throw that would have sent the game into overtime. That is just not ideal. And it's looking really bad for the Dallas Mavericks and really good for the Thunder. The Thunder seem to be playing very good defense on Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. And it's really Lou Dort's doing a really good job, and so is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's also playing very well on the defensive side of the ball. He's averaging 2.5 blocks in this series. And if he wins this series, he's going to be the first player to average 30-plus points per game, along with 2.5 blocks as a guard. And with that in mind, that's very, very impressive coming in from Shai. And he's only making the statement towards Shaq that, he definitely... Remember when Shaq was saying that Shai deserved the MVP? Right now, Shai is somewhat proving it in this series. And in every single game that the Thunder... Just about every single game that the Thunder have played in this series, Luka has scored 30 points or more, or roughly around 30 points. And that consistency coming in from Shai, especially with the shots that he's taking, is astonishing. He's averaging... Okay, so he had 34 points in this previous game, and he didn't take a single three-pointer. So, obviously, he did take a lot of mid-range shots, and he did shoot 14 for 27 from the field. It was less than 50%, but granted, 34 points, still very impressive. It was rather inefficient, just a little bit, not entirely inefficient, just a little bit. But other than that, 34 points, you can't really argue 34 points. That was without that 34 points, the Mavericks, they wouldn't have the Thunder wouldn't have been able to win this game. So now the series is tied 2-2, and it's going to OKC in hopes of ending the series, in hopes of taking a 3-2 lead, thus giving them a better chance to end the series in Game 6. So, and the rest of the Thunder team actually shot very poorly in this game. Lou Dort went 4 for 14. Jalen Williams went 5 for 15 in this game. Even though, Jalen Williams, he ended with 14 points and Lou Dort ended with 17. That's still hurting your team with how inefficient you're shooting. And Aaron Wiggins, he ended the game shooting really badly, 2 for 7. And the man who I will not mention his name anymore, he also went 2 for 8 and got 5 points. You guys know exactly who I'm talking about. I'm not going to mention his name. I just don't want to. And the rest of the players on the entire team shot 25% from 3 and 38% from the field goal. So it was really down to the best players on each team to capitalize for them in the final minutes, and Luka just couldn't do it. PJ Washington, he ended the game 7 for 19 with 21 points. Kyrie Irving only took 11 shots, 4 for 11, and 9 points. So it would seem that his struggles in the postseason continue. He's never had that problem when he was on Cleveland, I'm just going to add. He's always been he was very, very consistent when he was playing on Cleveland in the playoffs. But after playing on Cleveland, he sort of regressed in the postseason in his performance. Like, with the Boston Celtics, he was very disappointing. The Celtics ended up going farther without him than they did with him, both the previous season and the next season afterwards in that bubble. So it didn't really look good for Kyrie in the postseason. Not to mention, Kyrie did get injured with the Brooklyn Nets in the postseason. So it's a rarity that we even see Kyrie in the postseason. But the last few years that we've seen him in there, it's been rather disappointing. So in order for if the Dallas Mavericks have any hope of winning this series, they need to get a much better performance from Luka and Kyrie, because it could not be any more important now. I mean, they need they need to bring in their A game, and they got to bring it in now, because if they don't bring it in now, the series is going to be over. Because Shai has already brought his A game. He's been playing with his A game since the beginning of the series. And it's honestly so impressive how he's able to score this many points, taking nothing but mid-ranges and taking no three-pointers. Like, it's similar to Michael Jordan in the sense that Michael Jordan wasn't a very good three-point shooter, but he was a phenomenal scorer, and he would score a lot of points in the mid-range area, in the paint, everywhere around the court. Like, that was Michael Jordan's game, and it seems like Shai is mimicking it a little bit towards, like, in the sense of his shot selection and where he takes a lot of these shots. I mean, they go in at a very, very frequent amounts, especially, and it's very interesting, especially now in this league where everyone takes a bunch of three-pointers. Here you have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's working inside the arc as a guard as opposed to working outside the arc, something that we see coming in from a lot of point guards like Halliburton, Trae Young, Steph Curry, Luka, Kyrie, just to name a few guards that actually play outside of the perimeter. I mean, Kyrie also takes a bunch of mid-ranges, but he also takes a lot of threes as well. Like, Kyrie isn't afraid to take a three, but you won't see Kyrie taking one three-pointer in a game. Like, you won't ever see that. He'll take at least more than one. But Shai, he only took one three-pointer and it missed, and then he went back to the mid-range. I mean, and it's been working, so it's like you can't really say anything about his game because, like, the shots that he's making, they're going in. And the biggest problem with the mid-range was that it was an inefficient shot. And there's no need to really take a mid-range when you can take a layup and score the exact same amount of points, which is why the shift in mid-ranges went and shift to corner threes. Because those are the kind of shots that would amount to the most points, given that you're shooting a three-pointer instead of shooting a two-pointer. It's definitely high risk, higher reward for the offense, and that's really like why the mid-range game has sort of died in the NBA, and how it's even more impressive that Shai is making a living at the mid-range. Similar to how a lot of these, like, only the best of the best scorers really take these mid-ranges. Kyrie, Kevin Durant, those two right now in the league, they're the best of the best in terms of, like, pure scoring, especially Kevin Durant. Devin Booker as well, he's also a really good scorer, and they take a lot of mid-ranges. So it's no real stranger for a good scorer like Shai to take those mid-ranges, but the lack of three-pointers is even more jarring. So they go into the next series. They go into this series, and now they're going to play back in OKC, hopefully looking to take a 3-2 series lead. And we'll just have to see if Luka and Kyrie's playoff experience can outweigh the rest of the performance coming in from those players. But with that, that's all I really wanted to say about this series. So we are out of time. So now I will be going on into the third segment, talking about Bronny James and the draft combine, because he just recently participated in that, and now he's been given the green light to go in the draft. So I will be right back after this short break.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.